This morning I was reading Judges. In chapter 11, we're introduced to this judge, Jephthah, mighty warrior. He was the son of a prostitute. Gilead was his father. Gilead's wife also bore sons, and when his wife's sons grew up, they drove Jephthah out and said to him, "You shall not have an inheritance in our father's house, for you are the son of another woman." And so he fled from his brothers, and he lived in the land of Tob, and worthless fellows collected around Jephthah, which indicates that he had a weak personal character. After a time, the Ammonites make war against Israel. The leaders of Gilead, they went to go and get Jephthah from the land of Tob, and they ask him to be their leader. He says to the elders, "If you bring me home again to fight against the Ammonites, and the Lord gives them over to me, I will be your head." So Jephthah went with the elders of Gilead, and the people made him head and leader over him. And Jephthah spoke all his words before the Lord at Mizpah. Now, when we look at the study notes here, it says that Jephthah displayed a strange mixture of faith and foolishness. While he acknowledged God, his overall foolishness seemed to outweigh his faith. And also it notes that God did not raise up Jephthah. As he had previous judges, the people appointed a leader without seeking God's approval, another sign of their increasing rebellion. I thought that was very insightful. Some people are more foolish than faithful. Instead of praying and relying on the Lord to raise up another judge as he had before. There's 12 judges in Israel, and he's like, I want to say like number 8, something like that. He's been raising up judges time after time again after they rebelled and become oppressed. He's been faithful to them even when they haven't been faithful to him. But instead of doing so, they appoint Jephthah, who is a man of foolish character, but they're like, well, we don't got nothing else. I think it just goes to show that, especially like relationships, people will just go for anything available, just like to kind of say, oh, I'm in a relationship. People will try to make decisions and then basically tell God, make do, essentially. I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to pray about it and make it sanctified. You got that, Jesus? And that's just not how it works. And later, Jephthah makes this vow. He says, if he gives the Ammonites into his hand, then whatever comes out of the doors of my house to meet me, when I return in peace from the Ammonites, shall be the Lord's, and I will offer it up for a burnt offering. And so the wording here shows that Jephthah intended to offer some animal as a burnt sacrifice. The grammar also allows for whoever, in which case Jephthah would have intended to offer a human sacrifice. However, after the Lord delivers him into his hands, he goes to his house at Mizpah. But what comes out to meet him is his daughter, and she meets him with tambourines, and she's dancing. And she was his only child. As soon as he saw her, he tore his clothes and said, "At last, my daughter, you have brought me very low, and you will become the cause of great trouble for me. For I have opened my mouth to the Lord and cannot take back my vow." Now here's the thing though, the cause of great trouble. Bro, you did this to yourself. Nobody told you you had to make a vow like that in the first place. It wasn't appointed. Now you asking the Lord like, oh, if you do this, Lord, if this is not your will, Lord, if this is your will, make this happen. What people do in relationships, the same thing. However, the wording of the passage is like two ways to interpret what happens. One way to look at it is he offered up his daughter her virginity. She couldn't get married or anything like that or have kids, or that she was offered as a burnt offering. If the story ends where like he actually like sacrifices the daughter, like he could have broken the vow, because in Leviticus chapter 5, the law talks about vows not having to be kept if it causes you to sin. Basically what happens is the daughter goes up to the mountains for 2 months to weep for her virginity. And it says at the end of the 2 months, she returned to her father, who did according to his vow that he had made. She had never known a man, and it became custom in Israel that the daughters of Israel went year by year to lament the daughter of Jephthah, who Gilead died 4 days in the year. So because of like how it's written, it could be interpreted either way, but it just goes to show the consequences of allowing foolishness to reign over faith, because it starts with the people, and then you put this person in power, and then you buck them up, and now they making vows that they have no business making, and then you have consequences. So God allows things to play out. He still delivers them. He didn't ask Jephthah to make that vow. It says the spirit of the Lord was upon him, like God was still with him. He gave him his spirit. The vow that he made was out of foolishness, and it's because the people were foolish in appointing him. When you do stupid things, you're gonna get a stupid consequence. And I think we see that a lot today.